Okay, so let's focus on an existing health marketing campaign as a case study. And what I want you to do is I would like you to think about your health marketing analytical report. In fact, you might want to go read the directions for that final assignment before you watch this lecture, because I'm going to do a case study walking through this health marketing campaign, and it's very similar to the kinds of things I'm expecting from you when you do your health marketing analytical report. So your final assignment focuses on 3 areas. What is the evidence of the campaign? Who is it aimed at and how does it reach them? In other words, who is the audience? And what tools are used to communicate by that campaign? So for your report, you will be given a choice of various health marketing campaigns and you'll select one of them. Part 1 of your report will analyze why the campaign exists. And so for the purpose of this lecture, we're going to use an existing campaign as a case study. And this campaign is out of the UK. It's called Eat Them to Defeat Them. And this is a campaign aimed at getting kids to eat their vegetables. But first, we need to find the evidence. What is the evidence that there is even a problem? Are kids not eating their vegetables? And why is that a problem? And then we need to analyze, okay, well, what behavior would fix this problem? That's the behavior that the campaign is aiming to promote. Don't be afraid to go for the simple answer. The simple answer is getting kids to eat their vegetables will help with the problem that they're not eating their vegetables. And so the product of this campaign is getting kids to eat more vegetables. When you are looking for the evidence behind a campaign, you can usually find it within the campaign materials. So for example, here is a piece of evidence that the campaign is giving on this case study. It's giving this statistic that 80% of our children are not eating enough vegetables, with a third eating less than 1 portion a day. And so that's part of the evidence that we need this campaign. The second part of your report will be focused on the audience. You will be identifying who is the audience. So you've already identified the new behavior that is being promoted. And so for this case study, the new behavior is for kids to eat vegetables. Well, that is the audience. You've just identified the audience for the case study that we're doing here. Kids. The audience is kids. So the new behavior will be done by the audience. And then you will assess that audience a little bit more. Why don't they already do the new behavior? So for kids, for example, why don't they eat vegetables? Well, the campaign material does talk about this a little bit. So when you dig into the campaign material, they very likely will discuss, what are we up against? Why aren't people doing this behavior? And then what is the price? Remember, price is not money. So what is the price to kids to eat vegetables? And we'll talk about this in a moment, but price is really what they have to tolerate or give up in order to do the new behavior. Here's a bit of the campaign material. It's a screenshot of why are we making vegetables scary? And they explain why. It's because it's based on research and expert support, but it works for the target audience, and that is kids. So for this campaign, the audience is kids. Now, some of the campaign materials will be aimed at adults and also schools, but the audience itself is the one that's going to do the new behavior. That's kids. And so the campaign will try to get to adults to help kids eat more vegetables. But the audience of the campaign is aimed at kids, and that's why the campaign looks the way it looks. So think about it for just a moment. Why don't kids eat vegetables? Well, one reason is they don't like them. So if you were doing this campaign, you would try to think of, can we make vegetables more likable to kids? Another reason is maybe they're not served vegetables at home or at school, or maybe they're served vegetables, but they're mushy and they're not very tasty. So maybe the people that cook and serve the vegetables are in need of some culinary skills to make the vegetables more tasty. Maybe kids are served vegetables, but they still don't like them. And so that goes back to our point 1. Can we make them more likable? Okay, and here's the tricky part. How do we apply price? So what is the price to the kid to eat vegetables? Well, first of all, they need to tolerate eating something. So this requires bravery. and this requires trust of the people that are feeding them vegetables. If they fill up on vegetables, that means they may not be able to eat other foods that they like eating. So they may have to give up some of the food that they would have been eating instead to make room for those vegetables. Another price is they may need to ask for it from their caregivers. And so if they're convinced that they want to eat more vegetables, but their parents don't cook vegetables, they may need to bring it up at home. And so they might need some skills, they might need some resources to help them do this. They may need to let their tastes adjust, and so they may need to get used to the willingness to try vegetables more than once, knowing that the first try may not taste that good to them, but they might get used to it. And then they may find that eating vegetables is boring. So they might have to get over this concept that vegetables are boring or that they're not kid food. So they might need to adjust the way they think about vegetables. Okay, so now for the tricky part. How does the campaign address the price? We've identified what the price is to kids to eat veggies, eat more veggies. We can think about a campaign addressing price in two different ways. It can try to convince them that it's worth it, but does this campaign really do that? In other words, does this campaign focus on educating on why kids should eat their veggies? No, it doesn't actually do that. This campaign really does not put much emphasis on trying to convince kids that veggies are good for them. And that tends to be our knee-jerk technique for trying to get people to do things, is we try to convince them why they should. But instead, this campaign aims to shrink the price. So kids, the price to eat veggies is that veggies are boring or they don't like veggies. And so the campaign is aimed at making veggies fun by making it into a game. So here's a little screenshot of part of a game that you can play. 52 veg are hidden in the city, and kids can go find those hidden veggies. And then there's all kinds of campaign materials playing with vegetables, basically. And so the Eat Them to Defeat Them campaign aims at making veggies fun, and that is all in the name of shrinking the price. It's not really trying to convince them it's worth it. It's just trying to address those issues of price and make the price less for kids to eat their veggies. So here's another example of material that the campaign produced, and it's a game board that you could give out in school where the kids eat them to defeat them, and they stop the veggies from taking over the world. And so they color in this little chart every time they eat a veggie. So it's making it fun. So the third part of your report will focus on the campaign communication tools, What are the various campaign communication tools? This campaign focuses on three main areas, and so it focuses on advertising, which kind of infuses the message into kids' lives through advertising, and then it goes to schools. The schools do the curriculum, and they do sampling, and they give out the game boards, and then they provide material to take it home, and so it infuses the message into the home with material and recipes and things like that. There are so many different examples of health marketing campaign tools, and when you get to this point of doing your report, you really want to spend time browsing the campaign materials because there's tools all over the place. First of all, most campaigns have a main website, but on the website there are a number of different tools that probably have been created. So for example, there might be tip sheets, there might be interactive tools, there might be tools that help people find services, there might be videos or public service announcements or radio ads that were created. There's probably social media platforms that do various things for the campaign. There might be things like toolkits or a curriculum that was created and handed out to schools or other agencies. I've got some examples from this campaign. Up on the top left, there's a giveaway that they did where you could enter and win a Vitamix mixer to create those smoothies. On the top right is results that they received from the advertisement that they did. And so it shows that it's actually working. 51% of the parents and children recall seeing the ads. On the bottom is a school event that they put on to kind of introduce the campaign. And then on the bottom right are giveaways and tip sheets that can be given out at schools and taken home to parents. Okay, so let's review those 4 Ps in relation to this existing campaign. So in your health marketing analytical report, you will be focusing on these 4 Ps, identifying what they are. So the main product is the main behavior change. For this campaign, the main product is kids eating more vegetables. There are supporting products that the campaign created in order to achieve the main product. And so they created all kinds of campaign materials like the game board, the school education items, parent outreach tools. All of these are aimed at making that main product happen. The place is where the audience is most receptive to the message. And so this campaign focused on schools. It delivered a majority of material in schools. And then the campaign materials were housed online on a website. That website then was placed on all promotional materials so that people could go to the website and receive more information when they had the campaign material. And then the campaign was also promoted using local TV, using public service announcements, strategically placed during programming that kids in the community were likely watching. So this campaign, the main price that this campaign targeted is that kids don't like vegetables. And the way the campaign aimed to shrink that price was to make vegetables more fun. And so it's all about adding fun to eating vegetables, and this shrinks the price. And so the campaign aimed to saturate a kid's world with messages of fun. So with games and curriculum, recipes and tips for parents and schools to make vegetables fun and appealing. And then promotion was done with many different methods. And so the campaign saturated the audience with messages through school curriculum, through events at school and also in the community. Promotion was done with giveaway items that the kids could take home to school, and also media messages. This is a YouTube channel that they started. It's called Tea Time Adventures. Remember, this is a UK campaign. And so these are all different kinds of recipes that are shown for parents to make veggies more fun. Finally, I thought you might enjoy a couple of the testimonials. The campaign website does have some testimonials from parents that participated in this campaign, and I just think they're really lovely. I'm not going to read them to you. I'll just give you a few minutes if you'd like to read them.